Hey, what is up, guys? This is Bo, or Carl Hunga 712, and today I'm bringing you a brand new video where I rank the greatest Call of Duty games as of 2021. Make sure if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you guys can enjoy all the content on my channel, and we're going to get into it here. So basically, kind of before I get into actually ranking this first one here at number 14, as you can see in the background, it is Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. And but basically, I kind of want to talk about the 10 categories. I rated these 10 categories on a 1 to 10 scale, and then added them all up for a total score of total possible score of 100. And my categories were innovation, fun factor, weapon balance, maps, amount of content, how well has the game aged, perk balance, score streaks and kill streaks, connection, and hit detection. And basically what I wanted to do, basically going through and ranking all these CODs from the original COD 4 all the way up to Modern Warfare 2019. I didn't think it was fair to include Cold War quite yet. I'll do that probably next year or when I do this list again. But anyways, I think this was a pretty good category because sometimes we get too much into the, this game feels good, or, I think I remember this game being great and wonderful. But then when you go back and try to be more objective and think about things, sometimes you put them rose-colored glasses on and kind of, fogs your memory a little bit. So that's why I kind of put this list together. And I was kind of surprised at some of the games I thought I'd rank higher than I did that were actually ranked quite a bit lower. But I think this is a good list, and you'll see why as I go. To begin with, though, for Modern Warfare Remastered, in the innovation category, I gave it a 1. So basically, the innovation category, how innovative was the game? Did it introduce new things? Or, was it just a continuation from the last game? And of course, 5 in these categories just means it's average. Obviously, I ranked it a 1 because this is a remastered game. We already have the original COD 4. This is just a copy and paste with updated graphics. We got a few new guns in it, but nothing innovative, and that's why it gets a score of 1 in this category. Fun factor, for me, this is going to be a little bit, of course, subjective, because you got to have a little subjectivity in here. Fun factor for me on Remastered was a 3. Basically, again, fun factor, how fun was the game in general? This also includes, Battle Royale zombies, campaign, etc. I enjoyed the campaign, of course, in Remastered, but the game, in my opinion, just has not aged well. It was kind of a slower, real methodical, kind of more of a boring game. It's very simple, which I usually tend to like, but just with the way the balancing and different things was like that in the game, for me, the fun factor was pretty low. So, obviously 5 being average, so this is going to be a little below average at a 3. Weapon balancing, I gave a 2. So again, weapon balancing, was it possible to utilize other weapons, or was there just kind of a select few that dominated? Of course, as you guys know, everybody's complaint when you go back and play the original COD 4 or Modern Warfare Remastered, everybody complains about the M16. Now, the MP5, the 7.4U, the suppressed P90, some of those guns you could utilize, but I mean the M16 was pretty dominant. And for me, I think that's a pretty fair rating, giving it a 2. Obviously, I didn't give it a 1 because with the Remastered, you got a few new guns, so I figured, let's bump it up from a 1 to a 2. Maps, this is probably where Remastered scores the highest at. The maps I gave an 8. So the maps, how were the maps? How many maps? Did they have a great flow? Were they balanced? Were they competitive? Are they kind of regarded as great maps? Obviously, here in the background, you'll see 2 gameplays on Wetwork. Wetwork, I don't think, was ever considered like one of the best maps on here, but it's a map I always enjoyed playing, and it was all right. It was kind of a cool map, but a lot of these maps were memorable. You had just so many maps on this game that kind of kick-started COD, and this game kind of made COD what it is. The maps were realistic. You didn't have all 3-lane maps, which I kind of liked. It wasn't repetitive. You had big maps. You had a few small maps. Of course, you had the classic shipment. And, and again, maps are ageless, and these maps were great. And that's why I gave it an 8 in this category. The amount of content, I gave this a 2. Again, when it comes to amount of content, how much content was launched with the game and added over time. I didn't give it a 1 because they did add weapons and different things like that, charms, camos, different things like that. So I think it's fair to give it a 2 in this category. Obviously, you just have the base maps that came with the game, And if you guys remember, not all the maps launched with the game. Some of them had to be created and brought in later. And then, of course, the DLC was brought in at the very end of the game. So I think that's a pretty fair score of 2 for Modern Warfare Remastered. The next one, how well has this game aged? And I rated MWR as a 3 in this category. So when you go back and play this game, is it still playable? Is it hacked? Has the game aged like a fine glass of wine? And for me anyways, with Modern Warfare Remastered, I don't think the original COD 4 has aged well. Just with the game, it's very simple. You have a lot of overpowered, kind of broken things, you know, the frag ×3, the M16 being really strong and overpowered. Just a lot of power positions on these maps where it kind of limits your movement. Like I said, again, frag ×3, man, you had literal nukes in your back pocket that you could throw out of spawn all the time. And the game isn't hacked. I mean, you can go back in, you can get matches on TDM, no problem. I did try to get a couple matches on DOM and some of the other game modes and really struggled there. So I don't think there's a lot of players on MWR. But for the most part, you can get into a TDM game and have some fun. You could probably get into some search and destroy games, but you know, I think a 3 is pretty fair for that category. Perk Balance. I gave Perk Balance actually a 1 on here, the lowest rating you could give. And for Perk Balance, was there a variety of perks that people used, or were there only a select few that people chose to use, kind of like crutch perks? And for me anyways, again, on this game, you know, everybody used frag ×3. It seemed like everybody either used Dead Silence or Martyrdom. So that kind of left your third perk. I can't remember if it was Stopping Power, or I think that's what most people used, was Stopping Power, to give you a little bit more damage on your guns. And you had a lot of perks to choose from in this game. You really did, which I thought was kind of cool. Of course, you had that classic Eavesdrop perk. I wish people still, you know, didn't... Pretty much every lobby now, anyways, that I find true, I don't know about you guys, but it seems like every lobby now, no, pretty much everybody's in a party, you know, nobody's really talking and stuff like that. And of course, that's what Eavesdrop was for. If you get close to enemy players and stuff, which it was kind of a fun, quirky perk, which is what I thought was kind of neat. But again, you know, you had double tap on here, which was a rapid fire. Few people used it from time to time. UAV jammer was good if you were running a suppressor, keep you off the mini map. You just didn't see it that often. And there's a few other perks too. You had 3 times stun too, which could get a little irritating. But most people used just kind of the same old on perks. So I think that was pretty fair to give it a 1 in this category. Again, maybe you could have gave it a 2 or a 3, possibly. But I think that was pretty fair there, just because from what I saw in the lobbies I was in anyways, there wasn't a lot of variation in the perk balancing. The next thing, kill streaks and score streaks. I gave Modern Warfare Remastered a 2 in this category. So again, how useful were the streaks? Were they worth using? Were they fun? Were they varied? Did you have a lot to choose from? Obviously, with this being a copy and paste of COD 4, you only had 3 kill streaks. What was it, 3, 5, and 7? So you had a UAV. You had a basically like a lightning strike type of streak, and then you had your chopper. Now, you could get a decent amount of kills with your chopper. You could get a decent amount of kills with your strafe run. Or sorry, I'm kind of drawing a blank on it in the background. You know, I played this a ton, and I'm drawing a blank on it. But anyways, you know, you can get an okay amount of kills with it, but you don't have a lot of variation with the kill streaks. You only have those 3. And like I said, you know, with these older games, you know, they were, at the time, these games were innovative, they were fun, they were ahead of their time, but, you know, just compared to the games today and the more recent CODs and MW2 and Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3 and just a lot of those games in more recent times, you just have so many kill streaks to choose from, you have so many perks to hide you from the kill streaks and provide balance and different things like that, that just having the same 3 streaks and only at 3, 5, and 7, there's not enough variety there for me to bump the score up from a 2. These last 2, connection and hit detection, I think are where the game also does quite well in. So in connection, in general, how was the connection? Did you have problems lagging, connecting to matches, etc.? I gave that a 7. I didn't have a lot of problems in Modern Warfare Remastered when it was out. You know, the occasional game where you might have a stutter or two, but for the most part, I think this game had a pretty good connections. I'd like to hear in the comment section again. You know, did you guys kind of feel that as well? Did you think the connections were kind of crappy on here? Like I said, for me anyways, I didn't really have any problems on here, and I thought the connections were pretty solid. Hit detection's the last score here, so how was the hit detection in general? Did you have issues with ghost bullets, kind of firing blanks, getting shot around corners a lot? Hit detection, I gave an 8 on this game, and I actually think the hit detection might be a little better on the remaster than the original. I know in the original you had some leg shooting, I think is what they used to call it. On the original COD 4, obviously the servers were a little bit different back then, and I got to tell you on this game here, you know, your bullets really do connect quite well. As you can see me using this M16 in the background here. I mean, if my dot is on somebody's head or somebody's body and I fire, they're dead. I mean, they're dead instantly. So, you know, I gave it an 8 in this category out of 10. I mean, you can't really get too much better. You'll see as we get further up the list, there are a couple of games I do give a 10 to in hit detection. This isn't one of them, but I mean, you know, again, a score of 8 is pretty solid. So basically adding up all 10 categories, I get a total score of 37 out of 100. Now I know that sounds pretty low for most people, and I know a lot of people really loved Call of Duty Remastered, Modern Warfare Remastered. But I think this is a fair score, and I'm going to explain why just a little bit more, even though I kind of did when I ranked my categories. Again, we had a copy and paste of an original game with updated graphics and a few new camos and a few new weapons. It was just a copy and paste game, so there was no innovation here. It was the same game. Again, fun factor, it's a different style of gameplay. Not everybody's going to like it. Again, I'm more of a Black Ops 2, kind of that era of COD is what I find the most fun. So those games are going to score the highest for me. Again, there's going to be a little subjectivity here, so like I said, I kind of want to know in the comment section what you guys would rank all these at. Again, poor weapon balancing hurts. The game did have great maps. Again, it lacked content. For me, it did not age well. Just lack of streaks, the lack of perks that are functional, and different things like that. The score streaks and kill streaks, again, you only have 3, 5, and 7. That's it. So that got a pretty low score. But the hit detection and connection did well. So hit detection, connection, and maps is what kind of holds this, you know, at the 37 mark, whereas the other ones kind of pull it down from going any higher than that. And like I said, again, for me, I think that's a pretty fair score, 37 out of 100. Like I said, I had some fun on this game with friends. We played in a few game battles on here. We had a lot of, you know, we had fun on this game. We really did. I preferred Infinite Warfare the year that came out. I know sometimes that's a sacrilege to say, but I do think that's a fair score for basically just a copy and paste remastered with not much new content. I mean, people wanted it to stay classic. People wanted it to stay true to itself, and I think the game does that exceptionally well. If you liked COD 4, you probably like this game. But that's going to be it for today, guys. I want to know in the comment section your opinions on the game. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? And what would you rank it as? But this will be number 14. We got 13 more videos. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and let me know in the comments what you think. I hope you guys are having a great week. We'll see you next video. Have a good one, guys. Bo out.